G'day and welcome to another edition of Hef's Homebrew. Well, back out here in the brewery for a brew day. Today I'm brewing up a German style Pilsner using this kit here as the base, Black Rock Export Pilsner, 91.5% Pilsner malt. The rest is made up of crystal. IBU, according to the website, is 37. In addition to the kit, I'm also going to throw in a kilo of light dry malt and about 250 grams of dextrose. Steeping overnight in my fermenting fridge, I've got 300 grams worth of grains just in some spring water, 200 grams of Carahel and 100 grams of Carapils. So I'll also be adding that to the mix. Hop wise, I'm going to use Tettnanger. Haven't used this one before. On the BlackRock website, they say that this tin is actually a Czech style Pilsner. Now, there's nothing really that I can tell that makes it a Czech style Pilsner. The hops that they use, like with all the BlackRock tins, are New Zealand hops, so Pacific German Green Bullet. But I'm going to turn it into a German style Pilsner using these hops. Haven't quite decided how much I'm going to use, but I'll do a hop steep, probably around 25 to 30 grams worth there. And going to ferment with 2 packs of Nova Lager yeast. Hoping it's going to come to about 4.5% out of the fermenter. Bottle conditioned, should get us about 5% for a nice German style Pilsner. Going to try and get some footage throughout the day that I can add to the video before we get to the tasting. It's going to be a reasonably long ferment, probably looking at my schedule around 2 weeks in the fermenter, and a cold crash before bottling, and 2 to 4 weeks in the bottle before we get to the tasting video. So that's it for now, and we'll see you along the way for some brew day footage. G'day. Alright, the beer has been in the fermenter for a full 14 days now. Started off at 12 degrees for 4 or 5 days and then slowly ramped it up a degree each day up until we got to 18, and then it's had a nice 4 or 5 days at 18 degrees for a diacetyl rest. Just taken a sample and got a hydro reading. Didn't unfortunately show you what the original gravity was on brew day. Turns out it's quite difficult to film and brew at the same time, but the original gravity was 1044. I did just measure this with the hydrometer and it's finished at 1010, which is what I was hoping for. So out of the fermenter, that's an ABV of 4.4%. It's going to be bottle conditioned, so we'll be looking at about 4.9% as the final ABV, which I'm pretty happy with. Also pretty happy with the colour. It's a nice golden colour, a little bit hazy obviously prior to cold crashing. It's going to have, let me see, 1, 2, 3, a good 4 days cold crash before I bottle. So let's see what it's like. Smells like a beer. Let's have a taste. Yeah, tastes pretty good. It's always hard, I found, to get a real accurate picture of what the finished product is going to be like, especially with bottle conditioning. But I can taste already that there's a nice amount of bitterness there, so I hope that that sticks around for the tasting, and it's quite dry as well, finishing off at 10:10 as you'd expect. Not quite as much impact on the flavour from the hops as I was hoping from the Tettnang hops, so that might be something to look at for future brews. I did only use 25 grams in a hop stand. Yeah, maybe more next time. But yeah, not too bad. Looking forward to the tasting, which is what you'll see next. G'day, here we are on tasting day, the 44 Pilsner. It's been in the bottle for just about 5 weeks now. It was conditioned for 3 weeks at 16 degrees, another week at 14, and now it's just being held at 12 degrees, so kind of around a cellar temperature. I did find with the Galaxy Lager, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy Lager, that it really made a big difference to the quality of the beer as I moved through the batch. Temperature controlled, conditioning, and aging made a big difference, especially during the summer months. Anyway, let's crack this open. Pour out into the pint glass. All right, can hear the carbonation. You can see the bubbles coming up there from the bottom. It's nice and clear. The other obvious thing that you're probably noticing is the colour. Yep, it's a little bit darker on camera, but it is definitely darker than your standard Pilsner. I'm looking at it here. It's probably almost on the amber spectrum. A really, really dark golden to light amber colour, I'd be saying. And we've got 1 to 2 fingers of off-white head there. The colour I'm putting down to what I think was a kit that was either very close to the best before or maybe even past the best before date. I must admit I didn't check it, but that's the only thing I can put it down to. It should not be this dark in colour. Anyway, that's the appearance. Aroma. On the aroma, I'm mostly getting the malt and just a subtle hint of the noble hops, the Tettnang hops that I use, but it's mostly a sweet malt. Yeah, maybe a hint of breadiness about it, and almost a touch of caramel as well. Smells good. Let's give it a taste. Cheers. Light to medium body. Does have a nice bitterness to it. From memory, and I'm sure I mentioned it when I went through the ingredients, the IBU somewhere in the 30s, I think, maybe mid 30s. And I think that's reasonably accurate. It's pretty crisp and dry in the finish, which is good. Finish at 10:10 with Nova Lager, and that's what I got last time, so good to see that it's consistent in that regard. The flavour profile, similar to the aroma. It's dominated by the malt. There's definitely some sweetness coming through from the Carahel malt. And in terms of the hops, it's there, but it's pretty subtle. I only used 25 grams of the Tettnang. I was really hoping to have that noble hop flavour coming through in the finished product, in the flavour, to really make it a German style Pilsner, but it's not quite there. No kit twang. And as I've said before, kit beers, in my experience, really it's the 6 to 8 week mark where they really start to shine. So this one is just a week or so off that, but it's still drinking really, really nicely. It is, as we say, it's beer flavoured beer. Nice bit of lacing there on the glass, which is good. I was going to say you could serve this up to people who are predominantly lager drinkers, or brew this if that's you, if you're a lager drinker, a macro lager drinker. And I think you'd be really happy with it. It's just a really nice, clean, crisp, refreshing lager. I would like to brew it again, but I will definitely use more of the hops. Only use the 25 grams. I'd strongly consider doubling it actually and using 50. It was the first time I've used that hop, so I wasn't too sure what to expect. And as I said, I'd really like it to be more prominent in both aroma and flavour. So I don't think I'd dry hop with it, but yeah, I think I'd be tempted to add 50 grams next time. The other adjustment that I'd consider making is maybe swapping out the Cara Hell for some Cara Munich, to get a bit more of that breadiness in the malt coming through. But look, the BlackRock Export Pilsner, it's a good kit. I reckon on its own it probably does just fine as well, but if you're willing to just get those few extra ingredients, take your time, get a good yeast, you're going to get a really good beer. In terms of the price point, this style of brewing, it's not the cheapest, but it is quick and it's easy. So for 26 long necks, I'm usually spending between 60 and 70 Australian dollars for a batch, which sounds expensive, but it's still far cheaper than buying a commercial product. A case of VB long necks, which is only 12, so less than half of what I got. I think you're paying around that $60 mark, $60 to $70 anyway. So I'm getting more than twice the amount of beer, and I think it's a better beer anyway. So as far as that's concerned, I think it's still a win. And a rating, I'd give it a 4 out of 5. Not quite as good as the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy Lager, but as I said, I'm still really enjoying that. It's a good beer. It's a really good, solid beer. What's next? Not 100% sure, but I'm leaning towards making some adjustments to Hef's Old Dark Ale, which I think I've said on previous episodes, and brewing it as a dark lager. Few adjustments to the ingredients, Nova Lager yeast, and a dark lager. That's what I'm leaning towards. But anyway, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time on either Hef's Homebrew or Hef's Beer Review.